Everyone. Welcome to our virtual KU Major Day at Khalifa University. My name is Dr. Isam. I am an associate prof in physics, and also I take this opportunity as well to introduce my colleagues who will be joining us on this meeting. Maybe I should go by names and then the title. We have Professor Fedor Kuzmatsevich. He's a fellow prof in physics, as well as another three colleagues, Shashikant Paturi, who is assistant prof in physics, and two assistants, Dr. Amir Raja, and as well as Dr. Marco Isiya. So they are assistant profs who just joined us last semester. And I think they will be just proven to be valuable in case you have a question also about the medical physics program, which we anticipate to be accredited soon, as well as anything related to space science, astronomy, cosmology, and what have you, or any, in general, any information you would like to ask us about the program. The physics program or the physics department rather, is a new department in a sense. It was established or officially start offering a bachelor degree in physics on the fall 2019. College of Arts and Sciences in general is a fresh college that was established January 2017. Khalifa University as a whole at the beginning was just engineering oriented university, but then as you see now we have established the College of Arts and Sciences, which has several programs in it, as well as the College of Medicine. So we started working on our program, as you can say, sometime in May 2017, until we got accredited officially to offer a bachelor degree in physics on the fall of 2019. As well as we took initiative and we worked on our medical or master's degree in medical physics, as well as PhD in science track physics. I mean, the PhD in science in general, or in sciences in general, has to serve the entire College of Arts and Sciences, chemistry, physics, math, and so on. So we have our own also component in that. The master's degree in medical physics and the PhD in science are in their final accreditation process, and we expect them. We were in fact expecting to run this semester. Anyway, they're still pending final approval, I think, in the final process, and we currently also recruiting graduate programs. So that just to give you a quick introduction. Let's just focus mainly on the bachelor program, and I will let also my colleagues talk later about the medical physics, as well as to provide also some information about the PhD in science. The physics program is, in a sense, when we envisioned to establish a bachelor degree in physics, we thought maybe we do something different in a sense than other universities, where we provide a lean program, in the sense of flexible, such as we don't demand like other programs where we just enforce too many courses on students. Like I remember when I was a student myself, very much 180 credit hours just taking theoretical courses. We have main core courses, and then we thought would be maybe good to leave it up to the students to design their own path. In a sense, what is the student usually is interested in? And we thought maybe it's a good idea to envision something maybe in physics education as a track, as a sided track. Like you take your core courses, but then if you are interested, say, in physics education, the rest of your courses will be under that track. So you get to select the courses you want with emphasis on physics education. The same thing also applies physics engineering, or well, that's another track. And we have something related to space science science, astronomy, cosmology, what have you, where students as well can emphasize courses in those three tracks. So since now we can look at it as one program that offers several options, several tracks for students, depending on the interest of the student, him or herself, whether in physics education, space science, or physics engineering or engineering in general. Also, we have emphasis on minors, in a sense, if someone maybe wants to work a little bit more with engineers, they can actually minor in or take some courses, designed courses in engineering as well, but they have a minor in engineering as well, such as artificial intelligence and communication. We also have unmanned aerial vehicles, and so on. So this is in general just a quick introduction to the program. Now, for admission to our program, of course, we expect that you have a high school degree no later than 2 years prior to joining for the current year. But we also emphasize the math and physics skills, in addition, of course, to Arabic and English and what have you. And I think all these requirements currently obtainable from the admission office. But if I recall, there should be some minimum scores achieved on, for an example, on math, that should be 875, on physics, maybe 600, Arabic language, and so on, and skills, 700, and in English, 1100. That's in general introduction to the program. We as well, maybe we can take advantage of this meeting and allow maybe other faculty in physics to introduce a little bit information about the postgraduate or the graduate program in physics, like exactly, because now we're currently interviewing and we're trying to recruit graduate students to our program, as well as our medical physics program, which has a master's degree, as well as anything related to space science. I think my colleagues will be more useful in this content. Dr. maybe Shashikant Patuli been involved lately with the reviewing graduate students in addition to other faculty. So maybe it's a good idea I give the floor now to Dr. Patuli to just give us a little bit or give the students a little of information about the graduate program as well as the admission criteria and what have you. Dr. Shashikant, are you with us?
Yeah, thank you, Isam, for this nice information and introduction for this BSc program. So, as I hope student will be clear in terms of what are the requirements for our program and what we are offering for them for this undergraduate program. But if you are interested to know more about these postgraduate programs, like we are offering PhD in science overall, so with the physics as your major, but the detailed information will be provided on this Saturday from 12 to 3 p.m. So that's a different session to give you more information about these PG programs. But for you, if you are really interested to do your PhD in physics, then right now start working from now. Choose physics as your major and then continue your study. So I hope you will be a successful candidate at the end. I think Isam, we will have a separate session for this PG session on Saturday from 12 to 3. If students are more interested in that, they may join us in that open day session.
Okay, great.
What do you think? Yeah.
No problem. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think, unfortunately, because we got hit with this pandemic, we used to offer the KU majors on campus, where basically wasn't open from like 9 o'clock in the morning until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where all faculty in, let's say, each department and staff as well will be participating, and students will have first class experience dealing with faculty and staff and asking all kinds of questions, as well as their parents. As a matter of fact, I remember too many parents used to talk to me and ask questions about the physics, or at that time, the bachelor degree in physics. But yes, indeed, we have a program also on Saturday. That's new thing, in addition to this session, where in the morning there will be one on the undergraduate, and I think Dr. Curtis Bradley from the physics department as well will be taking control of that. In the afternoon, we'll have another session on the graduate program in science and physics in particular, and I think Dr. Batuli and Dr. Al Kork will be involved. So that's also a good opportunity in case you want to ask more questions or you thought of something more to ask us, but you did not get the chance to ask today. And so I think it's important that we give different faculty the chance also to speak, because while maybe I'm a faculty in physics and maybe been involved lately with the virtual, or at least let's say KU Majors Day in general, but we have a newcomers because we try to emphasize different disciplines in physics, such as maybe medical physics. I don't think so it's going to hurt if we give a chance also to Dr. Amir Yunus or Rajab, just to give us a little bit about, or give students a little bit information about the anticipated master's degree in medical physics, please. Dr. Amir, can you just give a brief introduction? I know this will be covered mainly in the graduate program session, but it's okay, just briefly if you can just talk about the program. I'm not quite familiar with what you guys been doing. Thank you.
Sure, and thank you, Dr. Isam, and thank you, Fatma, and everyone who is involved in organizing this session. It is my first time to be a part of this KU's virtual Majors Day, and to be honest, I'm learning a lot from these virtual platforms, because now I don't know for how long we have to stay like that, we have to live like that, but this is something that we all have to adopt. So once again, thank you everyone. Now, as far as the medical physics is concerned, I'm really excited to be a part of the physics department, where we have been given a task to establish a new subsection as a medical physics. Now, medical physics itself is an exciting and rapidly developing field which integrates physics, medicine, and technology all together. And I'm very proud to say that there are only few fields, especially in science, where you can have a combination of all these three things, like industry, physical concepts, and then the clinic. So it's really a fascinating field. The experts or the medical physicists have the opportunity to work in the areas of, for example, radiation oncology physics, medical imaging physics, nuclear medicine physics, radiation safety, health physics, and regulatory divisions of non-hospital institutions. So now you can feel that the span of the opportunities you can achieve by going through the medical physics program. And just to give you an idea, when we use the term medical physicist, what exactly they do? Well, in terms of the brief description or the common definition of medical physicist, which is acknowledged across the board, a medical physicist is a profession or a professional who specializes in the application of the concepts and methods of physics to the diagnosis and treatment of human disease. So now you see that medical physicist is basically bridging the gap between physics and medicine. So they work in the healthcare sector, in the health environment, to provide clinical services and consultation. Now, the question is why we have thought to start this program. Well, Abu Dhabi has a Vision 2030, where the main focus is to build a knowledge-based sustainable economy, and government is basically investing heavily in industrial sectors and like energy, material, aviation, health sector. And luckily, we also come in the health sector. So that's why government is really basically behind us. It is there's a huge support from the government side for us to start this program. Now, this is the master's program, which will going to be start from the very first time from the upcoming semester, like from fall. Although we are in the process of getting the approval, but we are very hopeful that the approval part will be sorted out. It will going to be a 34 credit hours program, and out of it, 28 credit hours will be coursework and 6 credit hours will be based on a research project. Now, who can join us? Well, any graduate, either from the physical science, from the biophysics, from the biomedical engineering, or any graduate which has a good understanding of physics and maths can join us. And also for those undergraduate students who can use an introduction to medical physics as one of their electives, I think in their fourth year, then that can also provide them an opportunity to take it as a pathway to be enrolled in the Masters in Medical Physics program. Now, in terms of the career pathway, I mean, to be honest, there's an immediate need. As I just mentioned, that government is basically pushing this program. Why? Because there's an immediate need of medical physicists within UAE and in GCC region. Why? Because there are new hospitals building up. There's an expansion going on in a number of hospitals, and more importantly, the technology, the revolution in technology we are encountering every day. So we need physicists who can interpret the evolution of technology to clinicians, to engineers, and to academics. So we need you. We need you if you are interested in an exciting profession. So if you need any kind of more information, you can contact me and Nabil, who is also my colleague. He is an associate professor of medical physics. So you can contact us and we'll be more than happy to provide you any kind of information. So that's basically a very brief introduction about the medical physics program we are aiming to start.
Thank you, Dr. Amir. I appreciate this thorough description of the program. And I think it's maybe a good opportunity that we give the floor to our students. And we still have Dr. maybe Fedor can maybe shed some light in general due to his experience as a full prof, join us from the UK, as well as Dr. Marco, who came from NASA. But I think maybe it's good that I give the floor now to our students, and I'm sure they're going to ask you questions which eventually could be answered by us, but in particular, Fedor and Marco. Yes, please. Any questions for us? We don't want to keep just bombard you with all these information.
Thank you very much, Doctor, and thank you all for this informative session. Students, if you have any question, you are free to open your mic and talk. Otherwise, you can type your question in the chat. So Khamis is asking, how difficult to find a job after graduation?
Well, this question is typical question that always makes me laugh actually, because it reminds me of a very sarcastic situation that I myself encountered when I was undergrad, and then when I went on to graduate school. Maybe I just can speak about this briefly, and I'm sure my colleagues can relate. When I actually went on to after finishing my undergrad. And in fact, actually, when I applied to a bachelor degree in physics back in Jordan at a time, my father was resisting the idea. No, you're not going to major in physics. Why? You want to be a teacher? You want to get a job and maybe they'll throw you somewhere, I don't know where, in Jordan. At the end, you're making maybe 150, 200 dinars a month. Very low amount of money, I guess, in today's currency. But unfortunately, this seems to be a global problem, and everybody thinks that maybe majoring in physics, you only have one option, which means you have to go and get a job as a teacher in high school, which is not the case. In physics, as Dr. Amir mentioned something, a little bit of information, I can add, we did not end up being teachers in schools, if that threatens you, but that actually nowadays, the country is investing, the country is highly, I meant the United Arab Emirates, investing highly in science. I don't know if I have a right to say that most students in the past were just only emphasizing engineering. Their parents want them to be engineers or medical doctors. Now they realize the importance of science and they start investing heavily. So there will be high demand on students with a science background, in particular math, physics, chemistry, and so on. If you do want to work as a teacher, you always have the opportunity to pursue higher education. Like for an example, we talked about medical physics program or even PhD in science in general. We all end up, or ended up rather, traveling abroad at the time because we did not have any graduate programs back in our country. And so we pursued higher education abroad and received PhDs. And then we moved on, in a sense, being a scientist, researcher. But that's not true, though. I mean, that is the only thing you can do. I mean, physicists in general are employed in many industries. For an example, in energy or the energy sector, such as in nuclear power, in oil and gas industry, in materials. Like when you emphasize material science as an undergrad, of course, you can work as taken maybe your senior year or final year project with people who are working on materials, nanotechnology, and so on. A lot of companies, petrochemicals and metals and so on, they look for people like you. Also in the aviation and aerospace, and we all heard about the HOPE mission, and you see how the country is heavily invested in that. Defense, the army, I can think of that as well. Pharmaceutical industry, biotechnology, life sciences, also healthcare industry, transportation, trade. You can work for the stock market. I always wanted to do that for some reason. And they asked me that question, but I failed at the time. Maybe at the time they would not teach me good probability. Logistics, education, financial services, telecommunications, all these sectors employ physicists. It doesn't mean you're just going to teach physics 1 or whatever for high school. That's just it. That just briefly talking about possible employment for physicists. And I saw another question, but I missed that.
Okay, Doctor. Mariam is asking also, does the physics track will be written in the certificate?
That I personally do not know. If Mariam is a currently existing student of ours, maybe a good thing that she would contact the registration office or the admission office, one of them. They should have a more formative information. I myself do not know that, actually, to be honest with you. But maybe they will add a minor. Maybe they will add a minor. I do not know. This is something that it's at a higher level or a higher management level can address that. I don't think so. Anyone in the physics maybe currently has an answer to that. Sorry, Mariam, I'm not sure if I provided the answer you want or you're looking for. But again, we can just ask a question. Ask the registration or the admission office.
Okay, Doctor, what kind of competitions students or your students can participate in, activities they can do in order to improve their skills and add extracurricular activities in their profile?
Okay, I mean, I know for sure we have the physics club that runs a lot of activities, and we brought a couple of students, but I'm not sure. Is the president of the physics club with us today? Anyone from the physics club? Because you guys have been running a lot of activities lately. And we had a meeting last week, the first actually. Is anyone from the students we suggested they join the meeting today to give their maybe future colleagues or classmates or maybe physics mates? Are they with us? I don't think so. I can't hear anything. I mean, activity-wise, I mean, physics students in general are more encouraged, of course, to work closely with faculty in physics. We have, as I mentioned, we have a physics club, and we run several activities. Sorry, again, when should I apply for a track? Well, actually, you don't really necessarily apply for a track. Sorry, I got distracted with this. You don't necessarily apply for a track. This is something you decide to do anytime you want to. In a sense, okay, I emphasize taking core courses like university requirements, which is a requirement or courses that must be taken by all students. And then we have a College of Arts and Sciences requirements, which are particular courses that you have to take. Then we have something we call physics core courses, which you have to take. The rest is yours. You can start taking courses according to the plan, you know, on the second year, third year, fourth year, and so on, where you, in a sense, selecting your own track and designing your own path, depending on your interest. But we don't enforce on you. We have a several list of courses that each track has, and you are more than welcome to join or to look at our website, the physics department website, because we cannot just list all the courses in this meeting and talk about them, but it gives you a clear idea about how to design your own track or your emphasis or what area of physics you would like to emphasize. Now, to physicists in general, we have, as I said, a club which involves currently existing students as well as faculty, and you're welcome. And of course, we encourage the interactions, I mean, between students as well as faculty. But say, for an example, a student is interested in something, I mean, they can always send a chair of physics an email, say we're interested maybe about organizing a particular gathering in physics, or maybe a workshop, or maybe they can suggest to attend a conference or something. We do encourage that. We do allow our students to go attend workshops or even conferences. In fact, as students progress, they will be involved in a senior or a final year design project or research project. Well, they will be working closely with an individual faculty for a full year. And of course, during that time, I mean, they can definitely join or attend a conference, as well as internship. I mean, they can definitely always contact different companies and apply for those internship or ships where they can definitely just serve and spend some time learning about that company or strengthen their physics skills. As far as I'm concerned, these companies are highly in need of physicists because we don't just only emphasize your physics skills. I'm sorry, I don't want to just come across and say that physics is maybe the best there is, but this is the way I feel. You have engineers, of course, are fond of their majors, mathematicians and so on. But in physics, you don't only just learn physics. You learn math. You learn skills that you will take with you to real life. For an example, we can maybe ask now a physicist or some person in the physics department to teach math course or a math course. But it's not the other way around. I'm not saying there are no mathematicians who are, you know, good enough to teach maybe physics courses, but usually the case that a physicist maybe can do both physics and math, but not the other way around. Because this something comes naturally from part of your training as a physicist. That's in general. The physics club is new, and we still, you know, I mean, in early process now of maybe establishing or running a conferences or maybe sending people to attend conferences on. But that's very much a quick brief idea or introduction about some activities maybe students can be involved in. If Dr. Marco with us, briefly, Dr. Marco, I know we do not yet have a specialized program in astrophysics or in cosmology, but maybe if you have anything to share about maybe space science or anything from your experience coming from NASA and so on, maybe you would like to share with our students.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Isam. I'm still here. So certainly, it would be a pleasure to share a little bit. So as you mentioned earlier, the concentration in what is called the space science, or actually the way that we named it so far, it's astrophysics and astronomy and cosmology, which would really include the space science. Would be a very, very new concentration that will be offered for the first time now in 2021. So to kind of give a very brief description, we could say that partly we are motivated by this recent great success of the UAE mission to Mars, which is the Emirates Mars mission, or HOPE, that is currently transitioning from the travel phase into the science phase, and joining basically only a handful of other countries that ever managed to send a mission to another planet. So in some ways, we would try to build on that success when we are developing this new concentration. And the other aspects of it would be, again, in the most general sense, we could speak of astrophysics as basically physics of everything that lies beyond the Earth. So if once when the program is up and running and we get students enrolled, the idea would be to have them specialize in different aspects of either space and planetary physics, or cosmology, or maybe just pure astronomy, and look for ways to explore the universe and everything that it is made of as part of the major of the concentration. I'm sorry. So maybe to kind of link a little bit to the question related to the employment. So in my experience, picking physics or astronomy in some schools which offer this kind of specialized major would be one of the only ways to actually end up working in a national space agency and doing science. So as you mentioned, I came here from NASA, and you probably know that most of NASA's employees are engineers, and well, aside from the support staff, that might be even more. But the only people who truly work on science, so who get kind of the most interesting part of those missions, are really scientists who specialized in some of these courses, and then kind of slowly worked through the career to end up probably getting an advanced degree, and after that getting an employment in such a space center. And so this would be one of the kind of obvious paths that I would see as a potential for employment for the students who would pick this concentration. And in other sense, it's also kind of connecting to the question and everything that you mentioned before. In my experience, people who specialize in physics and astrophysics these days often end up working in industry, either in data science or even in IT industry in general, or they really go to work in finance. So in fact, probably close to 70% of graduates will pick a non-academic career once when they graduate. So does that answer the question, or did you have something specific in mind?
I mean, for me, as far as I'm concerned, I just want to give the students some feedback about the stuff we do, because maybe some of them now, when they join, they think physics is just Newton's laws that they learned in high school, while physics is not just what they learned in high school. I mean, we have a faculty specializing in different areas of physics. We have people working on material science, semiconductors, superconductors, nanotechnology. We have people, for an example, working in medical physics. We have people like Dr. Marco here in NASA, coming from NASA, as you mentioned, in astronomy, astrophysics, cosmology. We have people like me mainly. I'm working in nuclear and particle physics, as well as material science. We have people in biophysics, biomedical physics. We have people, physicists can also do theoretical work, and some people do experimental work, or some can actually combine both, where you do both theoretical and experimental. Also, there is this branch in the middle which we call phenomenological, which actually relies on already published experimental data, where these scientists or physicists come up with their own models to describe something. So it's not just Newton's law or F equals ma that we learned in high school. It's very, very, very deep, and it relates to different disciplines. For an example, now all the physics faculty in the department, they provide research assistants to all, very much most maybe, of faculty in engineering. We have people specialized in microscopy in the physics department, in the growth, and so on. So they provide all this technical or even theoretical support to engineers. So if you look at engineers now, you see them actually, a lot of them start drifting away from the classical engineering that they used to do, and you find them now doing stuff related to physics and chemistry, in nanotechnology and all that stuff. In aerospace, the material goes into those ships and what have you and all that stuff. It's all about material science, how to design and create or find the best materials. All that stuff is physics, chemistry. So the future, as I see it now, is actually for scientists, for science in the United Arab Emirates, in the Arab world, you know. And I think it's about time now, maybe, that just we move away from the classical picture that physics is only mean that you're going to be a teacher. That's not so. But if that makes you feel comfortable, I can join a little story. When I was a graduate student, I attended Northwestern University, and all the faculty there are just coming from the top-notch, top of the cream in the United States, whether from Princeton, University of Chicago, what have you. They themselves were worried at the time, because they studied physics, and they thought they could end up being a cab driver back in the States or whatever. And that's not the case. That's not the case. This is just misconception for some reason that is always associated with science. And that's not really the case. So I think it's a good career, whether you look at it financially or you look at it future-wise. I think it's rewarding. In particular, also in the United Arab Emirates, I think the country has a clear vision on what they want to do. And I see now all the investment is actually being poured into science in general. And that was the reason, of course, establishing all these physics programs in the country. They offer scholarships. I mean, if I recall correctly, I had something maybe about scholarships, that if you join the physics at Khalifa University, you are entitled for a scholarship, which I did not enjoy when I was in your age. For an example, you can go through Khalifa University scholarship, or there is something called telecommunication regulatory authority, TRA scholarship, UAE nuclear energy scholarship, ENIC. We have something called the Future Teacher Scholarship, ADNOC Scholarship. This is by itself is great. I mean, when you see really the university and the country in general really offering such golden opportunity for students as well as actually their parents. I mean, look, college education and fees and cost nowadays is very expensive. And here we see now Khalifa University, we see the country is offering people, whether locals or expats, such golden opportunity to study and get the scholarship, books for free, computers for free. Look, I don't think so it happened. It doesn't exist really in every place in the world. Barely maybe we can get a scholarship here and there in Europe or maybe in the Arab Emirates, or I mean in the United States of America, but trust me, a lot of us had to pay for their education. And I think this is also by itself, it's a golden opportunity for students to seize and take advantage of. And maybe, I don't know if there are any questions, but we have a very senior faculty with us, Professor Fedor, who joined us from the UK, United Kingdom. He was a chair of physics department there, as well as a very, very experienced educator. And maybe he can share or give us some perspective also on physics from his point of view, or what recommendations or maybe suggestions we have for physics majors. Dr. Fedor, Professor Fedor, are you with us?
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Problem. Just please briefly, if you just share with us your experience about physics as well as physics in the UK and so on.
So thank you very much. It's a very broad topic, of course. It's difficult to focus on one of these things. Yes, it's what Dr. Isam was saying, that physics provide very broad education for many different directions. First time when I joined British University, I was really surprised that all departments of this university was full of physicists. Not only full of physicists, but nearly 100% of the physicists. You take engineering department, all professors, they got physics degree, PhD degree in physics. So that was big surprise, but naturally, it's understandable because physics actually provide very broad education. And after physics education, you can easily get any direction, get any degree. So that's why, but if you had engineering degree, or I don't say anything negative about engineering degrees, but usually it's very specialized, but technology is changing very fast. So when technology is changing, if you are specialized in old technology, you're out of the mainstream. So that's why. But physicists actually have this so broad education, they can easily change directions. So that's what about this question I would say. So in comparison with British universities, of course, the level of Khalifa University, one of the highest, absolutely top university. Students are very exciting. Really exciting to teach here. Students ask very interesting questions. They have very nice discussions. I think it's just, as also technology of teaching and learning technology is absolutely top level in the world. So I don't know much about all other degrees. So my first status is just visiting here, but I will learn more about it. That's I think, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Please. I think that's all.
Thank you, Professor. Okay, sorry. Thank you, Professor Fedor. As you said, maybe we'll leave. No problem. We'll leave the floor to the students if they still have questions. But it just caught my eye. One of our students listed, Fatima Darwish, or maybe she's the first student to join our physics program. Maybe it's a good idea to hear from Fatima why she in particular decided to major in physics. Fatima, are you with us?
Yes, hello everyone.
Hi, Fatima. How are you? How are things? Sorry, maybe I caught you by surprise. Because we unplanned that. We are so genuine. We so honest. And so please, can you maybe share with us as well with the students why you decided to major in physics? What's about physics? What's in physics you liked, or what do you think it has a future? Maybe you can just share this experience with us.
Sure, yeah. So at first I joined Khalifa University as a math student, and what I think the physics compared to math is that, of course, we have the applied math program in Khalifa University, which relates math to real life experiences and real life jobs. But I think that physics is more related to, you're working with numbers that you can read the results for. Like it's not just random operations and random mathematical stuff. But as Dr. Fedor also said that physics can change their orientation. Like physics provides you with a foundation that you can build on for different majors for futures. For example, I'm minoring in artificial intelligence, and I think that physics will be a great foundation for me to, in the future, specialize maybe in like in reading data or a neuroscientist or developing a certain programs in medical like that will serve medical operations.
So, Fatima, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you just mentioned something that I think is very interesting because I got a question whether a track or a minor will be listed on the certificate. I hope you're not the one who asked that question, but you just
No.
okay, good. You just mentioned something about I am minor in intelligence or artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Have you asked the university, the registration office or admission office how this works? How this works? Is it added to your certificate, to degree? Can you share with us some information? You educate us now. You see, our students now are educating us. Yes, go ahead.
Sure. So what I've been told is that the track will not be necessarily written in your certificate when you graduate, and the minor will be a separate certificate. Like it won't be written on the main physics certificate, but you will be given a certificate that says you have minored in artificial intelligence for a certain number of hours. But the track won't be mentioned. That's what I've been told.
Okay, so the track is more like emphasizing courses, but the minor, you will be given also a second certificate highlighting this. Am I correct?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, if you go for a job interview or you apply for a job or even if you pursue a graduate program, they're gonna ask for your transcript anyway. They're gonna see how you done, your GPA, and how well you done on your courses. And when I look, let's say if I am one of those people, I look at your transcript, I'm gonna see this emphasis on a particular, maybe a track of courses, which means I would say to myself, well, this student is well oriented, has the proper background maybe to do the stuff that I want to do, whether it may be education and different tracks we talk about, space science and so on. So either way, whether on the transcript as a track or as a minor, eventually this is going to show up. In addition, of course, of a minor, well, you will be given a secondary degree as well or a certificate. Am I correct here, Fatima?
Yeah, and I just want to add a note for the educational track. We have the educational track when you can take technical electives related to education and introduction to science teaching. Two courses of this track will be considered in like if we wanna take a higher degree in educational in an institute in Abu Dhabi. I'm not sure if it's named, but we already covered two courses of that program. So two courses of that program we already cover in the educational track in the physics department.
I see. Okay. This is the college, I think, in Abu Dhabi. I forgot the name. That it just offers a graduate program in education in general, where they accept our students right away into their program, and they accept some of these courses, in particular if the track was in physics education. So we tried briefly give you a full spectrum of stuff that's going on in the physics department, who we are, what we do, what we specialize on. We heard or we listened to several specialized faculty as well as students. And I hope at the end we managed at least to give you an idea about physics as well as physics program at Khalifa University. So we open the floor now. If you want to ask us questions, if we thought of something, please go ahead and we'll try our best to answer your question. Not seeing anything on the chat. Okay, it seems that I'm not getting any messages on the chat, but I would like to mention you are more than welcome to drop us an email anytime. You can just visit the physics department website at Khalifa University or under the College of Arts and Sciences. And you can drop the chair, Professor Pereira. You can drop him an email, or you can drop any one of us if you want an email with a specific question. And we will be more than happy to assist you and provide any support and help to you. I hope we managed at the end to give you some idea about us. And I'll leave it now to the moderator and how they're going to proceed with this. Maryam?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Assam.
Oh, Fatima, sorry, I said Maryam. It's Fatima.
That's okay.
I apologize.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Assam. Thank you, everyone.